y'all, it's Pat. Welcome back to maybe a quick and dirty update on the White Lives Matter series. A lot has happened. There have been more school shootings. There have been bombings in Austin. Joe Biden said he was going to kick Donald Trump's ass if they were in school. A lot's happened. And also the Super Bowl has happened. And that is one of the centerpieces of White Lives Matter, on how the Eagles' victory riot was handled versus how other things are handled, and the Black Lives Matter protest that a lot of you probably didn't hear about, where in Minneapolis they held up the green line because they made the green line available only to Super Bowl ticket holders, I think on the day of the Super Bowl or some particular day. So our Black Lives Matter chapter went out and blocked the green line, and people were arrested and stuff like that, but they didn't get any media coverage. What did get the media coverage was the Eagles' victory riot in Philadelphia that was handled with such care and compassion. Property was damaged and all that good stuff, but the police department and the government officials were like, oh, it'll be fine. There was the Parkland shooting and the subsequent events of the Parkland shooting, National Walkout Day and March for Our Lives. And I always have faith in the youth, like no matter how bad things look, because really we all contribute to this. When something bad happens, it's all our fault, right? When something good happens, that's when people want to make the plucking of who did what to make these good things happen. But National Walkout Day and March for Our Lives, like, there's no turning back from this. The youth is making it clear that they are a part of this as well. And anyone who has anything to say about today's generation being lazy has nothing to contribute to a conversation with me, because they obviously aren't. And they obviously aren't too young to have a say in politics, because they need to be informed now to be able to make their decisions later. There's no such thing as being too young for any type of knowledge. And I just don't have any words for how I feel about them and the Parkland survivors and just everything that's going on. It's all just so beautiful. That's the best thing I can come up with right now. So much love and action to you, comrades, and to all the adults that were out there with them that are present. And yes, and of course how the Parkland shooting handled. He had access to an assault rifle, and he had a history of animal abuse and all that, and we just can't sweep this kind of stuff under the rug anymore. And of course people want to blame people with mental illnesses and neurodiversity, when really those are the people that are more likely to be victims of violence than to commit violence. But we're not accepting any more excuses. We've been not accepting any more excuses, but now the event has to come to a head. Everything has to come to an end. And I hope that progress is made. I don't know what that looks like for us, with the way Americans love guns, or the way white supremacists love guns more than any other type of American. But all I can do is show up and hope for the best. And there's also the Austin bombings. I don't have a whole lot of information on that, because it's not getting any media coverage. But there's some bomber in Austin that is targeting predominantly black families, and the celloist in one of the bombings is getting a lot of attention, but the bombings themselves aren't getting a lot of attention. And there's also a shooting in a Maryland school that also isn't getting a lot of attention, even though someone died. So we already know, like, there's discrimination in how media is handled, but now it's becoming more blatant, and thankfully we have social media to keep us on top of these things so these people aren't forgotten and justice is also fought for them as they no longer fight for themselves. So all I can say is, at this point, is just to stay on top of things. And I don't know if I talked about Larry Nasser and Louis C.K. on White Lives Matter, but it's been a long time since I did an update, and the Larry Nasser thing just kind of came and went because they already knew what they were going to do with him. If you don't know, I think he was I think he was he was some kind of doctor for gymnasts at the University of Michigan, I believe. That's the part that I'm not clear on. I don't know what university it was, but it was the one that all the people that go to the Olympics, they go to that university. And he not only sexually assaulted almost 200 girls, but he also got caught with child porn. And he initially got caught with the child porn, and then the victims came out, or something, or came out first, and then he was investigating and they found the child porn or something like that. But of course, I'm addressing the past issue. They've already thrown him away and locked away the key, and he's done. But the survivors of his terror will continue to live on with their experiences, but they are now justified survivors. And I am glad that this evil monster has been thrown away and is no longer allowed to wreak havoc on society. And I'm so glad that these women have lived through this experience to come out of surviving it, and just not letting it take themselves over. From the testimonies that I heard, people have moved on with their lives. Of course, they're traumatized and PTSD'd, but they're still living their lives, and that's what's important. And the Louis C.K. thing, I didn't really hear any more about that after the allegations came out. I'm sure they did something with him. They probably sued him. What he did to it was to a much lesser degree, but it still works in forms of like the power dynamic of having influence over other people's their career longevity. I do hope they did something with him. They did some things. He's lost a lot of his credibility and notoriety, but I hope he also lost some money, because that's where you really want to hit someone hard, especially in a capitalist society. That whole little scuff we had with Joe Biden saying he would beat Trump up if they were in school together. A lot of people are looking at that as, the misogyny of it all. Like, they claim that women can't be in positions of power because they're too emotionally driven. Meanwhile, we have grown men saying that they would beat each other up if they were in school. I'm all about Joe Biden, and I would let him whoop Trump's ass now if he could. I don't know any of Joe's limitations or whatever, but like, Joe wouldn't be the only person whooping his ass. Like, people would see that and then immediately rush in to help Joe, because Donald Trump deserves it. He deserves a good ass whooping. Maybe if you do beat the hell out of him, he'll become a good person and stop fucking everything up. And but I definitely see where the other people are coming from. And I mean, in the thing that I mentioned earlier about women, but I just want somebody to whoop Trump's ass so much that I don't even really care about that. And I mean, like, Joe and Barack definitely win the personality contest as far as presidents that have been active in my generation. So I'm rooting for them on a personal level anyway. But I think that's all I have to say for now. This one was pretty quick, but I'm just now getting back home, and a lot has happened since I was gone. There's just no way I could address everything. But shout out to all the comrades. Shout out to Neighborhood Defense, and also shout out to Morte, Hastamuer or Rete, being the most recent cafe in the news for refusing service to uniformed police officers. In Oakland, California, I said a long time ago that I would never set foot in Oakland, and then I also said that I wouldn't go to California, but I feel like I can justifiably retract those long printed statements, because I'm all about supporting radical places, and if I ever get the chance to head out to California, if I ever get the chance to head out to Oakland, I will definitely be a proprietor of your establishment, or a patron of your establishment. I do hope that more businesses take this step in putting their community before this other greater establishment that the police are supporting. Which is kind of a problem that I had with the place in Athens. It seemed like it was really cool and, hip, but they had two signs up. One sign was no weapons unless you have a badge, and the other sign was that they give a discount on coffee to police officers and the fire department stuff. So I kind of got a Blue Lives Matter vibe from that establishment, and even though the food was okay, I probably won't go back in there because they welcome uniformed police officers. But I will definitely hit up Hasta Morte if I am in Oakland, California. And I will be on the lookout to support more businesses like that. It's kind of a hard thing to keep track of because there's a very selective way in which establishments are getting attention for how they handle the public statement of the police, as we know it. But when it comes out that a business is refusing service to uniformed officers, I'm all about supporting that business. And in the meantime, y'all take care of yourselves and each other. Smash the patriarchy, smash white supremacy, and kill your local rapist. Take care.